Hey, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smash stuff going on here. And I'm a binge reader. I like to binge. So we're binging Star Trek Voyager. We have binged Star Trek Next Generation. Please go check out all those episodes. And a few of the end ones were gibba because I was having audio problems. Hopefully they're not still in existence today. But we are we are in season 2, we are on disc 3, we are on episode 125, The Tattoo. And if you could please hit the thumbs up and the like and subscribe, it would be most appreciative. Maybe one day I'll hit 1,000 subs, maybe one day. Fingers crossed, hope. But while we are headed to Tattooville, I thought I would bring up Tony Hillerman, Listening Woman. The blind shaman called Listening Woman speaks of witches and restless spirits of the supernatural evil unleashed. But Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn of the Navajo tribal police is sure the monster who savagely slaughtered an old man and a teenage girl was human. The solution to a horrific crime is buried somewhere in a dead man's secrets in the shocking events of 100 years past. To ignore the warnings of the venerable seer, however, might be the reckless foolishness when Leaphorn's investigation leads him farther away from the comprehensible and closer to the most brutally violent confrontation of his career. Another Tony, The Dark Wind. The corpse had scalped his palms and soles removed after death. Sergeant Jim Chee of the Navajo Tribal Police knows immediately he will have his hands full with this case, a certainty that is supported by the disturbing occurrences to follow. A mysterious nighttime plane crash, a vanishing shipment of cocaine, and a bizarre attack on a windmill only intensifies Chee's fears. A dark and very ill wind is blowing through the southwest desert, a gale driven by the Navajo sorcery and the white man's greed. It will sweep away everything unless Chi can somehow change the weather. Miss Margaret Cole, Winter's Child. I'm gathering stuff up for my Native American podcast this year. In the midst of a blizzard, Myra and Eldon Littleshield found an abandoned baby on their doorstep and brought the baby inside. 5 years later, no one has come back to claim the little girl, now known as Mary Ann Littleshield. But now that she's old enough to start school, her foster parents fear social services will take her away, a white child from them. Determined to adopt Mary Ann, the Littleshields hire lawyer Clinton Hopkins, who wants Vicky as co-counsel on the case. But before their plans can take shape, a black truck deliberately runs Hopkins down in the street. Enlisting Father John to help investigate who would kill to stop the child's adoption, Vicky unravels a connection between the 5-year-old girl and a missing alcoholic and Arapaho wanted for robbery, only to uncover one of the darkest secrets. Let's see what happens. And a distant relation, or should I say his daughter, Ann Hillerman. If you haven't seen my Ann Hillerman videos, please go check those out. I think it was The Lost Birds. I think it was that one. But Ann Hillerman herself actually saw my video and thanked me for doing the video on her book. Isn't that awesome? Doing a good deed for a relative offers the perfect opportunity for Sergeant Jim Chee and his wife, Officer Bernie Manila, to get away from the daily grind of police work. But 2 cases one near Shipwreck, the other at iconic Monument Valley, will call them back from their short vacation and separate them. Chee follows a series of seemingly random and cryptic clues that lead to a missing woman, a cold-blooded thug, and a mysterious mound of dirt and rocks that could be a gravesite. Bernie has her hands full managing the fallout from a drug bust gone wrong, uncovering the origins of a fire in the middle of nowhere, and looking into an ambitious solar energy development with long-term consequences for Navajo land. Under the guidance of retired Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn, Bernie and Chi will navigate unexpected obstacles and confront the greatest challenge to them yet. And another lady I found, or a gentleman, should I say, Jeff Goon, Buffalo Trail. After barely escaping Nemesis killer Boots in tiny Arizona territory town of Glorious Cash McLean is desperate need of safe haven somewhere, anywhere on the frontier. Upon fleeing to Dodge City, he falls in with an intrepid band of buffalo hunters heading south to forbidden Indian territory in the Texas Panhandle. Along with Western legends Matt Masterson and Billy Dixon, Cash helps establish a hunting camp known as Adobe Walls. When a massive immigration of buffalo arrives, Cash, newly hopeful that he may yet patch things up with Gabrielle Chituro back in Arizona, thinks his luck has finally changed, but no good can come of entering the prohibited lands they've crossed into. Little do Cash and his fellows know that their camp is being targeted by a new coalition of the finest warriors among the Comanche, Cheyenne and Kiowa, with their fierce Comanche war leader Ama and the rival mystic Istad, an enormous force of 2,000 hostiles about to stand on the camp. And now we will get to Chakotay's Indian experience here. There is no voiceover to start the set. So Chakotay, Balani, Neelix, Tuvok, they're all hanging around on this rock surface. Anything, not really. The polyferrite deposits are contaminated with acetylene. Tuvok says, Commander, there's something over here I think you should see. Let's go look. So they're all looking at the drawings on the ground here. There have been other visitors to this moon recently. What do you think this is? Some kind of message? And then he has a memory of past events when he was younger. So he's remembering his past. I don't want you to go wandering off. I'm not. I'm just looking at something. Antonio, he says you're quite a scout, Keeper One. I was just looking at a lizard when I saw it. Well, it was your eyes that saw it. No one else did. That's the important thing. Come, I want you to understand this. It's a blessing to the land, an ancient healing symbol. A shamozi. They probably cut this down for firewood. The rubber tree people? Well, the closest thing to the ancient rubber tree people that we'll ever see. The people in this tribe are their descendants, just like we are. But they never left this jungle, and they rarely intermarry with other tribes. How does that go with the DNA situation, though? I hope there's a several hundred of them or 1,000 of them, so it doesn't matter that much, but it might in future. So then Chakotay comes back from his memory and says, it's a blessing to the land for damaging it with campfire. What is your basis for this conclusion, Commander? Oh, just something somebody told me once. So they've got Ensign Wildman, and her daughter's gonna become. We gotta wait a few years though. And she's talking about all the different pains she's having with her pregnancy. So then Chakotay is talking to Janeway. He's in the middle of a story when we catch up with them. I hated every minute of it. My father dragged me all the way from our colony near the Cardassian border on his quest for this. Away from my friends, my home, and we were in the middle of a brutal Central American jungle looking for the descendants of the rubber tree people. It must have been important to him. Believe me, it was, and he was very disappointed that I didn't share his enthusiasm. He'd been tracking down the origins of our tribe for years. And he starts telling her about the rest of the situation, what was going on. It's an ancient myth. Sky spirits created the first rubber tree people in their own image and led the way to a sacred land where the rubber tree people would live for eternity. You obviously don't put a great deal of faith in this explanation. How much faith do you put in Adam and Eve? Hasn't science proven that all humans developed from a single evolutionary process? That's what I've always been taught. On the other hand, none of my teachers ever spent much time in the Delta Quadrant. Belania tells me we picked up a warp signature heading away from the moon. Should we follow it? I don't know that it's fair for me to put my own personal curiosity ahead of the ship priorities. We still haven't found any poly whatever. We need to steal the warp coils. If these people have warp technology, they might be able to help us. Besides, we are in the business of exploring, aren't we? My father would put on his expedition hat and shout, "Let's go." I guess that's good enough for me. So then we're on the bridge again. And Kim says, showing no signs of life. Mr. Paris, are you certain the warp signature ended up here? The camera switches to Paris, but then it comes back to them again. Positive, Captain Harry. Check your sensors. They look like some kind of power source to you. That is an unusually high EM reading for a natural occurrence. Could be some kind of cloaking device, that chakotay says. Mr. Kim, transmit a continuous message on all frequencies identifying who we are, where we're from, and make it clear our intentions are peaceful. And then she gets a page from B'Elanna. So then we're in the transporter room, and she's talking to Chakotay and Tuvok and Neelix. We'll send down and await him to continue the survey. Report to... Oh, they did it right. Commander, if we meet any resistance aboard the mission, I have no intention of disturbing an alien race that we rather left alone, Janeway says. Understood. So they head on down. So then it's reported that they can't transport down. Every time they try and transport down, a storm comes up. So someone or something is deliberately preventing them from beaming down to the planet. So then they have to take a shuttle down to the planet. So then while they're on the shuttle, Chakotay is having another childhood memory with his grandfather and it being rain, and he's complaining that it's raining, and his grandfather says, well, that's why they call it a rainforest. Why do your sky spirits choose a place where it rains all the time and it's hot and there are so many bugs? It's said the sky spirits honor the land above all else. Maybe it's because this land yields so many different kinds of life. Maybe they wanted us to become friends with everything in nature, including the bugs. Oh, okay. So then we're back on the shuttle again. 5,000 meters, decreasing to 720 kph, entering the terminal approach phase. Visibility is 0, switching to enhanced terrain scanning. Touchdown site scanned. And then the thunder and lightning and stuff, and Chakotay pictures a face in the clouds. So then we're with Kes and the doctor back on Voyager. Computer, activate EMH. Please state the nature of your medical emergency. Kes says, I thought we changed your program so you wouldn't have to say that anymore. We did, but I became so uncomfortable trying to find new ways to break the ices of war, I had it restored. And he sneezes. Doctor, you notice. Are hologram programs supposed to seize? Generally, no, but I have accepted your challenge. I've programmed myself with symptoms of the 29-hour Levidian flu. I will gain this experience that you suggest would be beneficial to the performance of my duties. And he sneezes again. I think this is brave of you. He gives himself the flu. Good grief. So then we're back on the planet again. We are not making any progress locating the source of the unusual power reading, Commander. Then I guess we'll have to search for these people the old-fashioned way with our eyes and ears. Is something bothering you, Commander? No, it just reminds me of another jungle that I once visited. The Central American rainforest on Earth. It's the only other place in the universe I've ever seen, and he shows a flower. Tuvok says it appears to be a rare variety of the Cryptidium, the Azteca genus Pavishimi. Pahiopedilum. I never knew you had such a horticultural expertise, Mr. Vulcan. In fact, I am, or more actually I was, a breeder of prize Vulcan orchids. Then we have something in common. I breed orchids too. Don't they make the most exquisite salad? I hereby designate the two of you the team's botanical surveyors. Collect a sample of the flowers. Balana, it's just what we've been looking for, pure polyphane. But there's a problem with the crust reactivity. If we can't solve it before evacuation, we might contaminate the entire field. Don't want to do that. Oh, and Chakotay has another memory. So, Chakotay thinks he sees a bald eagle fly above. So then his flashbacks to the memory when he was with his grandfather and saw the bald eagle fly above. And do they get um the hawk the Chakotay catches a glimpse of her face before he waves his arm and the bird flies off. And he says they need an emergency beam out to get Neelix to sick bay. Apparently, when the bird swooped down, he clipped Neelix's face. So then they beamed Neelix out, and the three of them just stand there. Let's see what happens. This is the structure that the Chakotay, Balana, and Tuvok have seen. So then the doctor is fixing Neelix while he's sneezing like crazy. And Neelix wants to know what the F is going on. Is there something the matter with him? The doctor gave himself Levidian flu to see what it was like. Is it contagious? It's a holographic simulation, not of actual virus. There's no need to concern. You may sit up, Mr. Neelix. Touchy, isn't he? He isn't feeling well. I don't require any compassion. Thank you very much. I've been experiencing these symptoms for nearly 20 hours, and I am in complete command of my facilities. And he sneezes again. So, Chakotay's talking to Janeway. Mr. Kim believes if we bombard the crust with antithorian radiation, we can decontaminate it before excavation begins. Then all we need to do is locate these people and get their permission. Any progress? Everything we found suggests these people live in this village, left recently and in a hurry. Do you believe our arrival frightened them? We can't discount that out, Chakotay says. So then Chakotay asks if they've picked up anything about the face he keeps saying, and they say no. And they haven't seen anything. Tuvok hasn't suspected any telepathic activity in the area either. And Janeway says, all right, let's call it a day. Come on up. We'll get a good night rest. And Chakotay's like, no, I want to pursue this further. So then he has another memory of a child when he was his grandfather. Talking about going into the village. They have reason to be scared. Who can blame them? Our history is filled with conquerors who brought them slavery and disease and death. Maybe we should just leave them alone. And he visions them talking with the chief. So that's the chief from Chakotay's memories when he was a kid. That his grandfather is surrendering to. And his grandfather draws the symbols on the ground. I have come very far to find you. You are my cousins. So he talks to them and does the drawings and the dirt and all that kind of stuff. Sure, the chief believes him, and all the members of the tribe come in and join them. Chakotay's reliving what his grandfather did with the hands up. And Chakotay disappears. His comm badge falls on the floor, and he physically disappears. So, and this is a bad picture. They're running through high vegetation. Tuvok and Balan are trying to get out to the beam out spot because the storm has whipped up. Chakotay sees a young boy and chases after the boy, and then a tree branch falls on him. So, like I said, they get beamed out, but Chakotay's badge is on the ground, and that's it. So Balana says, he was right behind us. I don't understand what could have happened to him. He was wearing his comm badge the last time you saw him. Just before the storm, he was using it to speak with you, Captain. Mr. Paris, what are the current surface conditions near the shuttle? Surface conditions are back to normal, Captain. Wind 2 knots, but I can't find any sign of the shuttle. It's not where they landed. Is it airborne? No, ma'am. I'll lead the away team back. Mr. Tuvok, Lieutenant, you're with me. Mr. Paris, you have the... And then the doctor contacts her. He's got a problem. Something terrible has arisen, he says. I think you're carrying this experiment of yours a little too far. 1 hour too far to be precise. I have specifically programmed a 29-hour Ladinian flu. It's now been 30 hours. Doctor, I'm sorry, but we have more pressing matters. Oh, you can't leave me like this. I need help. So then Cass tells the captain he'll be okay. It's nothing to worry about. I just added a couple hours to his computer program. He'll be fine in about 45 minutes. Knowing when it would end didn't exactly make for a fair test. She got the doctor. So Chakotay wakes up where he fell with the tree limb on him. Tries to get his bearings with the device. Goes back to that building type situation. He remembers his past again. The chief is drawing the tattoo that Chakotay has on his head on his grandfather. And the girls want to take his clothes off and help him, and he wants no part of it. So then he takes all his clothes off. Because that's what it did in the memory. They took the clothes off. So then they're in the transporter room. Balana says, I don't understand it. It's the same thing that happened the first time we tried to go down. A storm develops wherever we try to lock on. Why would we have the ability to beam people up but not down? I believe we've seen enough to discern a pattern, Captain. The logical conclusion is that someone is controlling the elements of the nature to ward us off. The transporter anomaly is evidence of this conclusion. We are allowed to leave the planet, but we are not allowed to approach it. If that's true, I'd be happy to resurrect their wishes, but unfortunately, I'm missing a crewman. So then Janeway says, okay, we're going to land Voyager on the planet. Okay, this took about 10 tries. Every time I tried to pause the video, it whited out because of the lightning strike. They were trying to show a lightning strike. So he goes into that cave. And now they're trying to land Voyager, and it's a little shaky. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a nice funnel cloud there. It's still shaky. Chakotay's inside the cave. And the spirit comes to him. Do you understand my words? Yes. Explain the face marking. I wear it to honor my father. He wore it to honor his ancestors. Are you a human? Yes. Are there others on your world with this mark? Yes, but not many. We were taught all of them had been annihilated. We were taught that our world had been ravaged with those no respect for the land. There was a time when that was true, but no longer. He claims to be a descendant of the inheritors, the ones our ancestors chose to honor. I'm surprised you have no memory of the inheritors. One of our gifts was the memory. If you were a descendant, you should remember. I'm not sure I understand. Perhaps it was lost over time. And he puts his hand on Chakotay, and Chakotay sees another memory. They're still having trouble getting Voyager down. The guy puts a memory chip in Chakotay's hand, a little square octagon box. So the guy tells him a little bit of history. 45 years ago, our first visit to your world, we met a group of small nomadic hunters. They had no spoken language, no culture, except the use of fire and stone weapons. But they did have respect for the land and for other living creatures that impressed us deeply. We decided to give them an inheritance, a generic bonding, so that they might thrive and protect your world. On subsequent visits, we found that our genetic gift brought a spirit of curiosity and adventure. It compelled them to migrate away from the cold climate to a new, unpeopled land. It took them almost 1,000 generations to cross your planet. Hundreds of thousands of them flourished in their new lands. The civilizations had profound influence on the others of your species. But then new people came with weapons and disease. White men came. They have a little more discussion. He remembers the past, has all these flashbacks, and they have another conversation, and all is well. But the guy says you can't have any materials from our planet, and so then he beams up to the Voyager, and that's the end of the episode. So, let's see if I can do this right. So that is the end of Tattoo, and I hope you will tune in next week for Cold Fire, and the week after Maneuvers and Resistance, as we continue on through season 2 of Voyager. If you haven't watched all the earlier recaps, please go watch those. I also do an unboxing every Sunday. I do not know what's in these boxes before I get these boxes. I did not ask for that particular book to be in that particular box. So join me with my surprise and enthusiasm as I open these boxes and discover what's in them. So there's a video every Sunday, and then on Saturday, I read the books in 2023, but didn't do it in 2024 because I'd done it in 2023 and didn't want to tie up too much of the channel redoing books I'd already just done. But I got homesick. They're my comfort books. So we did Stephanie Lawrence for the last part of 2025. So please check all those out. We did the entire Sinister series. But at Christmas time, we started with JD, Rob, Eve Dallas, Naked in Death, Glory in Death, Immortal in Death, and so on. It's going to be every Saturday for the entire year. I love my Eve Dallas. She's a detective. She's a lieutenant in the New York City Police Department. Her partner is Peabody. Her partner in real life or whatever is McNabb. McNabb is a detective in EDD, the Electronic Division. Feeney was Eve's mentor. He's now captain of EDD. And if you want to hear more about my rant, please check out all of those videos. Reading this year, I'm spoiling all the characters. I'm not talking plot. I'm talking characters. We're talking characters. We're reading about the characters. If you want to know about the plot and such, please go back and watch my original videos. But if you want to just enjoy the characters themselves, join me every single Saturday. Also Friday, if you like this book, you might like that book. Please do that instead of Google. If you're looking for a vampire, a werewolf, a dragon, African American, Native American, forensics, homicides, detectives, Scotland Yard, cozy mystery Thanksgiving, cozy mystery Christmas, cozy mystery Easter, cozy mystery foods, cozy mystery retail, cozy mystery this, Fridays, If Then, D. Louise book series, If Then. And then, of course, we're reviewing all books Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I've also got a few shorts out there. So check it out. There's over 2,000 videos as of this recording. I hope to reach 1,000 subscribers at some point. And please continue to watch. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you.